Hello everyone, welcome to my channel where today we are going to tackle the top 10 most asked Java coding questions to help you ace your interviews. So let's begin. So the first question is, write a program to calculate the factorial of a given integer using Java 8 streams. So if we are providing the input as 5, the output which we are going to get is 120 because the factorial of 5 is 120. So let's see the coding of this program. So first we'll create the variable called number whose factorial we want to calculate and we assign the value suppose 5 here. Next we are going to create a range of value using in stream dot range closed. Here we are using range closed because we want to include both the start and end number. So now a range of 1 to 5 would be created because we need that to calculate the factorial. Next, we'll use reduce method, which is a terminal method. It also takes two arguments. First one is the initial value and the second one is the binary operator. Here we are creating the product of A and B and A will be a cumulative variable which will uh, add the products. So that's all. Now we just need to print the value and let's see whether it's working or not. So we are getting factorial of 5 is 120. If we change it to 6, the value we are getting it 720. So it's working fine. So the next question is, given a list of integers, filter out only the even numbers and find their sum. So if a list of integers are provided, suppose in our case 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is provided, we will first filter out all the even number, that is 2, 4, 6, and then we'll find the sum of those number. So let's see the coding of this program. So in order to find the even number, first we need to convert this list into streams. Then call the filter function. Inside that, we will write the lambda code to filter out the even numbers. Next, we will use the map to int function. This will convert, here we will call the integer method int value. This will convert the integer object into primitive values. Why? Because that is much faster and easier to process. Now we will call the terminal operator sum. Now we will call the terminal function sum to add all the even numbers. Let's run a code. So we can see that the output is 12. The even numbers are getting filtered out and they are getting summed. So the next question is, given a string, find the first non-repeated character. So in our example, if a string Swiss is provided, now we can see that there are two unique characters, W and I. But since W is the first non-repeated character, so W would be the output. So let's begin with the coding. So first we have this variable input which now we want to get the character whose occurrence is only one. So suppose character result. First we will convert this input, this string, into an in stream of character code. But we do not need those integer code. We need the actual character. So we'll use map to object where these character code would be converted into actual character. Next, we'll use the operator collect collectors dot grouping y to get each character. We'll use function dot identity, and we want to calculate the occurrence of each character, so we'll use collectors dot counting. Now this will give us a map of where the key is the each character and the value is the number of occurrence of each character. But we want to process further, so we'll change this map into an entry set and then into a stream. Filter those character whose occurrence is only one. So we'll fetch the value and we will check whether that is equal to 1. Next, we'll get all those entry object whose value is equal to 1, but we want to fetch those characters which is the key. So we'll use the map function map.entry. So we want to fetch only the first character whose occurrence is equal to 1. So we'll use the operator find first, and if we do not get anything, we'll use or else equal to null. Now we are going to print a result. Let's run this code. Now see, we are getting W, but if we keep on running this, right now we are getting W, but we might get I as also um, as the output. Why? Because this collect operator, the map which it is creating is hash map, and hash map do not follow any order, but we want to fetch only the first character, so we'll use linked hash map. So so that only the first occurrence, because a requirement is that we want to fetch the first non-repeated character. That's why it's mandatory to use link hash map. So the next question is, given a list of string, find all string that are palindromes. What are palindrome? That strings that read the same backward as well as forward. Now, if we provide the input as madam, apple, race car, banana, and level, the list of string, then the result would be madam, race car, and level, because even if we reverse these strings, the output would be the same. S- So let's begin with the coding. So these are the list of word. Now we want to calculate all those strings which are the palindrome. So first we will convert this list of string to stream. Next we will filter out all those words who are palindrome. For that we will be using the string builder class whose method reverse will be using. So we will check using the equals operator whether the word which we are providing we will be converting that into string using toString. Now, if the word which we are providing is equal to the reverse of the word, then those are palindrome. So we will be collecting it using the terminal operator collect. Collectors dot toList. Let's print the output. Let's run a program. So we are getting the list of all those string which are palindrome. So our next question is, given a list of strings, find the longest string. If multiple strings have the maximum length, return any one of them. So if a list of fruit has been provided as input, we see that watermelon is the string which is the longest string. So the output would be watermelon. So let's see the coding for this program. Here we have these list of fruits name as the input, which we have assigned in the variable called words. Now let's begin with the coding. So first we are going to change these list of string into stream. Next, next we want to find the string whose length is the maximum. So we'll use the operator max. Inside it, we'll use comparing int, and here we are going to use method reference to call the method length of string. If we do not get anything, then we will be using or else null. That's it. Let's run this program. First we need to print the output. Let's run. So we are getting the output as watermelon, which is the longest string. Next is, given a list of integers, partition them into two lists, one with even numbers and one with odd numbers. So a list has been provided. We need to split that list into two lists. One will have the even number and the other one will have the odd number. So if 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is provided, the output would be 2, 4, 6, the even number, as one list and 135 the odd number as the another list. So let's see. We have a list of integer as input, and the output which we are going to get would be a map with key as boolean, true and false, and value as the list. So let's start with the coding. First we need to change it into string, and then we are going to use a special function of the collectors called partition by. Now this partition by is a collector that partition the streams element into two groups. So true for element that satisfy the predicate and false for element that do not satisfy the predicate. Now since we have written it for the checking the even number, so number that return true will go into a true list and number that returns false will go to the false list. So we will have two lists now. So now we will be having two map with the key as true, which will have a list of even number, and the key as false will have a list of odd numbers. So let's print the output. Let's run this. So we have for true key we will be having all those even number, and for odd key uh, for false key we will be having or the list of odd numbers. So the next question is, given a string, find the character that appears the most times. So in our input, successes is provided as a string, and we can see that S character has been repeated 4 times. So the output would be S. So let's see the coding for this program. So let's see. Uh, First, we need to convert input into in stream of character code using chars method. Then we need to change it to object as we done in the previous problem. Next, we'll use the collect method. Inside it, we'll be using collectors where grouping by function dot identity, sorry, and then we'll be using collectors dot counting to count the occurrence of each character. Next, we need to convert this map into stream. Now we'll use the max operator to find the most occurrence of the character. So we'll be using comparing by value. Next, we'll get that character whose occurrence is the most. Next, we got that entry object whose occurrence is the most. So we will want to fetch that character, which is the key. So we'll use the operator. So if we do not get any character, then we will be throwing an exception, the runtime exception. No character found. Let's print the output. Let's run the program. So we are getting S as the output. Next question is, given two maps, merge them so that values for matching keys are summed. So we can see we have two maps as input with a common key A. Now in the output, B and C, which are uncommon key, will remain as it is, but the values of a common key, like in our case it's A, would be summed. So since in one map A value is 2 and another map A value is 3, so in the output A would be 3 plus 2, that is 5. So let's see the coding. We have initialized two maps, map 1 and map 2, with the respective key values pair. Now this is the merged map. We will initialize it with the with map 1 value. Next, using for each, we will loop to each key value pair of map 2. We will use a special method called merge. We'll talk about it later. So here we will have key as one argument, value as second argument, and integer sum as the third argument. So let's talk about this merge method first. Now, the merge method takes three arguments: the key, the value to merge, and the remapping function. In this case, it is integer sum. If the key doesn't exist in merge map, merge adds the key value pair to merge map as it is. If the key already exists in merge map, as in our case, the key common key is A, merge applies the remapping function to the existing and new value. Integer. Now this integer sum is a method reference that adds the existing value to the new value together. For example, if key A exists in both maps with the value 2 and 3, integer sum will add them to give 5. So the output after processing all entries from map to merge map will contain the combined value according to the rules specified. So let's print the output and run a program. So the output which we get is a merged map of map 1 and map 2, where the value of the common key got summed. So this is a bit tricky problem that we are provided a list of number and we need to find the sum of all these number without using stream but only for each. So if we are provided a list of number as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then only using for each, we should sum that number and we should get the output as 15. So let's see. This is the input. Now we will create a array of single element. In our case, 0, which is the initial value. We will not create a normal variable, but a array. Now this array with a single element will hold the sum, allowing modification within the for each. So we will iterate over each element in the list and add it to this sum. Let's see. Let's run a program. So we got the sum of the list. If we will use a normal variable instead of this array, it won't work. Next question is print alternate numbers in a range. So in the input, if 10 is provided, then we will print all the alternate numbers. Like in our case, 1359 would be printed. So let's see the coding for this problem. Here the input variable is the range. Now we will use in stream for that. Now we will use in stream in this case dot range, where our initial value is 1 and range is the next argument. So we will have a range of value from 1 to 10. Now we need to filter the alternate values. So we'll write a predicate function. Now we need we now we want to print those. So we'll use for each for this. Let's print. So we got the alternate value in the given range. If we change this range to 50, we got all these alternate values.